Today I'm going to make a fabric covered journal. Now if you want to see how I made this, then watch at the end, because I'm going to put it at the end because that's the boring stuff, and I don't want to lose you. Very thin batting. Now I've cut it to my cardboard, and I've cut about an inch or so, like more in some areas, estimated it. Okay, then I glued it with some of this. Now that's glued, it's sat overnight, it's all good. Now I'm deciding which side I'm going to use for the front and which side for the back. So I'm going to have to flip it over. So you have some decisions to make. I've watched a lot of videos, and a lot of people are doing their videos differently, and some talk more than others, and I'm trying to be the happy medium. Now, I have tried a little bit of embroidery. Am I good at it? Not really, but I'm trying. I have some all kinds of different pieces that I pulled from my stash, because what you want to do is you want to make this area from where that batting is to the edge. That's going to be the edge. So if you had pins, so I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to just give myself a border. This is going to show me that I need to stay inside of these pins. That's all this is for. So that way when I'm making my collage, which is really what we're doing here, we're making a collage on fabric, I'm just going to stay within the border because I can't see the border. So this will help me. There. Now just coming up with some ideas of what kind of collages we want to make for this. Now this is just some muslin, and I'm just going to place this strategically where I think it's going to look good. So if you're making this with me, which is always fun, you can start placing your fabrics and we'll see what we come up with. Now, this is something that I've wanted to do, and when I'm doing a project, sometimes I put something in there that I've always wanted to try, and it may or may not come out the way I envisioned it, but at least I'm trying. This is what it is. This is my stamp. Now I'm going to get some permanent ink. I don't want to use my distress ink because it comes out with water. Okay, so I'm going to take this and use my new favorite. I'm just going to get that inked up and then put it on this piece of muslin. And I hope it comes out. What I really should do, since I'm doing it on muslin, is do it on a piece of paper. And you'd think I'd be able to find a piece of paper in this place. This way I can tell if I'm on target. Oh my goodness. This is what happens. Whenever I try it on a piece of paper, it always comes out perfect. Now let's see if it comes out perfect when I do the muslin, because it looks like it doesn't want to right there. All right, well, we'll try it anyways. So I really want that to be ruffled. All right, let's just do this. It's not like I don't have more muslin to try it on. You know, when you have some extra, don't fret about it. Yeah, that'll work. I wish that was a little darker in there, but I could try it again. But it's not that dark on the paper either, so. Okay, so I'm gonna let that be part of my cover. I'm gonna distress this Let me get my little trash can over here. I'm trying to be organized, but I find that most of the time, that's all I do is try. I'm not sure that I really attempt. I mean, I do attempt, but I'm not sure that I really do it. So, don't stop trying though, right? This is how I distress my fabric edges. There, I feel like that looks so much better than just the cut off edges. Okay, so now I'm gonna start piecing my fabrics, and I think I can use this glue, or I have another glue stick that I just bought that I don't know what I did with. So I'm not gonna go searching for that. See, I think I need to distress this too, because that looks too cut. And I want it to look like it's been around for a while and looking like it needs to have some fraying there. Okay, so this will probably, oh, I gotta stay within that border. And then now I have some frays, but that's okay. Stay within the border. And that's why I did it. I placed it where I thought it might be nice, but then now I've moved it all around and changed my mind on it. But that's what we do. Let's see if I want this here or not. Or I might need to go and find some more fabrics. So let's see if I like this composition. Okay, we'll try this again. I'm playing around with what I want on here. And, you know, it's like, what do they say? Trust the process. It's this part. It's this place in time when I feel like, I don't know if this is coming out right. I don't know if I like that. And I don't know if this is gonna look good. See, I've already come off the edge there. So let me get this cut and see what happens once I cut this piece off. But maybe this needs to be up here. Maybe it needs to be under. This was this very old piece of linen that's so thin that I really have been, I only used it on 1 or 2 journals because I really loved it so much. And mixing the whites and the creams. So let me just be quiet and then I can speed this up. So you're going to want to stop and you want to take a look at what you have when you get, you know, halfway through or so, and decide, is this the direction that I'm wanting to go in? And then you might want to change things up, or you might want to leave them just the way they are. If you don't want to try hand embroidery, use your machine stitches. If you have machine stitches, now is the time to use them. This is number 68 on my machine. Came out pretty sweet, I think. So just keep building this. Okay, so I thought I was recording when I wasn't. So we clipped the corners, and now I'm just adding a little bit of glue just to hold this down, and then I'm going to sew this. And I'll do the other end. My glue that I don't like getting all glued up because it ruins all my fingernails, but do I wear gloves? No. See, this is really too much, so I'm going to take this off to about an inch or so. And this is going to go right up to the cardboard because we don't need all that bulk either. There we go. Now, in order to make the miter corner, we're going to just from about a quarter of an inch out from the corner, we're going to cut off the corner on an angle. Now, I'll just glue this in order to keep this from puckering. Gluing is the best option. But you can just use clips and avoid the gluing if you want. But since I'm going to be sewing, it's going to shift on me, so I'm going to glue. I have to move these around and manipulate them a little bit and then give them a nice secure clip that my friend Suzanne gave me. Some clips in a little care package because we are pen pals. And I loved them so much that I went and I found these at Marshall's and I bought more thanks to Suzanne giving me the great idea. But the glue is all over my fingers now, and I'm trying to not let it bother me. It does bother me. See how nice that is? Now this is just going to go on the sewing machine again. And I will start in the back, and I'll just do a 3.5 stitch length, and then I'll just go all the way around and then give it I'm going to try to stay right to the edge, and it's going to give it a nice border. Let me come back with that. I go a lot slower than I normally would for sewing when I'm doing this because it's going through the cardboard and the fabric and the batting, so the machine is telling me that it doesn't really like it. So I need to slow down when the machine talks to me like that. And you can see too, when the needle goes up and down, there's like a little bit of a loop there. So I want to make sure that that doesn't cause me any problems. So I'm staying right along the edge, but I'm going very slowly. Okay, so now I've sewn all around the edges, and I've chosen some book pages, book end pages, I should say. These are something that it's funny because I did these papers a couple years ago, and I didn't like them. I said, what am I ever going to use these for? And I almost threw them out. Almost threw them out. Now I feel like these will be great in here. Could even make a pocket in there, but I don't think this journal is going to be all about pocket and this and that. I think the reactive, interactive part is going to be with your eyes and the color. That's what I'm trying to go for here, is making color using your eyes to move all over the pages and the fabric. So I think this is how we're going to do this. We're going to take this and we're going to make one for one side. So I can make a template. And then I'll make the other one the same size. This one doesn't have as much color on it, but that's okay because I have another plan for this. And I'm expecting someone to knock at my door any second and my dog to bark. So I'll put this here and this here. And these will be a little bit longer. And I'm trying to decide if I want to make this. I think I'm going to cut those because I want it to be a little more uniform than usual. So let me take out my cutter and cut the edges. Let's see if I can. I don't use this, and then I use it a lot, and then I don't use it at all, and then sometimes I forget how to use it. Isn't that funny? No, that's normal. Okay, there we go. Talk to myself, and let me come back up here because I don't want to cut off a ton. I just want to, and this is so dull. This is so dull because I used it, and I need to probably change that blade. But that's a whole nother job that we're not going to tackle today. Okay, that's that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to glue it down. I'm going to go just to the crease. I wanted to cover up that stitching. And I want to go out to the edge. There. And there's that tacky glue. Oh, they don't call it tacky glue for nothing, right? Oh, they don't even call this tacky glue. There. That's gluing. Drying. It's not gluing, it's drying. And my crease is right there. So I want to get into that crease because this is where my bend is in my book. I want to make sure that I keep that bend. Just makes it nicer. Because I'm going to do a hidden spine on this book. And I may do something with this spine. I don't know yet. I picked out a couple of papers that I really love. I love this lady slipper. Oh, it's called Jack in the Pulpit, actually. Oh, I have some of those in my backyard. I'm deciding if I want to distress the edges, and I think I do, but I want to use green. So let's see how this goes. Let's do it on the back first and see how we like it. That's not bad. Very lightly touch it to the edges so that it doesn't overwhelm. No, I'm not sure if that goes with that. Yeah, go there. I'm really loving this. I hope you like it too. I mean, if you do, show me by a thumbs up. It's always nice to have encouraging words too. Encouraging words are nice. I am going to now make a hidden spine for this. Now, I had cut my spines already when I was preparing my cardboard for the jacket. And I knew I wanted to use a hidden spine. So I have my things here, and they're the right size. Now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue 3 of them together because cereal boxes just aren't like they used to be. Talked about that when I was making the spine. They just are so flimsy. And even the lining, I use the lining when I'm painting or gluing and I don't want to get it all over my table, which I should be doing right now. So I got my cereal liner so that I don't ruin my table. And I've done all 3 of them. And now I'm going to cut some fabric to go in between the spine. So I want this to overlap about, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because this is going to hold the spine. And the only thing, if you use thicker fabric, you have to be mindful because it's going to, I'm going to test this out, okay? Because I don't want this to be too big, and it is. See, it's too big because it's not gonna, it's moving over when I open this. I don't want that. So I'm gonna cut this down about 1/4 of an inch. I'm using these scissors that my husband just sharpened, and I yelled at him the other day for cutting something with them. Oh my goodness. I wonder if he's gonna watch this. Because I said, don't cut that because I want them to be my fabric scissors. Don't cut myself, which I did before. I cut myself right across my thumb, my finger, my thumbnail, and my thumb, so that I couldn't do any journaling until it healed. It took like a good 2 months. Just a sliver more to be on the safe side. This is, for me, maybe for you it's not, but for me, it's a lot more time consuming, the hidden spine. But if it's what you like, and if it's the style that you like, well, then it will be worth it, right? They're still cutting pretty good, considering what I just put them through. Let's do this. I'm going to need 2 of these, so I want to cut the right one, this size, the right size, and then from there I'll cut another one. I don't want to go into that. Probably should have moved that over more. So this, now I've taken my measurements and I've added the 3 signature holes. I'm not the best at this process, probably. The hidden binding, I'm not the best at it, so I'm gonna just wing it. I've glued on the top, and it looks like I need some more glue down here too. Now I'm going to take my signatures and make holes in them and then sew them on here, which I'm not going to film because I'm not the best at filming and doing this. Okay, so now I'm done with putting in the signatures into that spine. Now I'm going to glue it all up and then go to my doctor's appointment. So get lots of glue on here so that it sticks really well. picked out my signatures yesterday. So after you're done putting in this hidden spine, you've sewn all your signatures in, you've sewn it into this spine. Then you're going to be home free. I'm going to put some glue on this side and get my bone folder. Make sure I'm putting them in the upright. Yeah, okay. Now, line up that spine right into the groove where you made it to go. I have to stand up for this one because I want to make sure that I've got it where it needs to live, because it's going to live here forever. I'm going to give it a little bit of hand by going down with that point. And I'm giving this a lot of pressure. I'm going to come over to this side. Give it a lot of pressure. And then I have this to glue. And then I am, well, pretty much done with this. I just have to add some ephemera in places that I want it to go. If I wanted to do any sewing on the signatures, usually I do them beforehand, but I can still pull it off. I can still manage to sew the edges if I wanted to on the sewing machine. But it's good to do it before. It's a lot easier to move those pages around. And if this bothers you, well, you can find yourself some lace. Let me see if I have some lace right here. Or, let's see. I just want to demonstrate. You can just glue some lace on the edge. That's not the best example, but you can just cover it up with some lace, which I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna let this set up really nicely. So for this flip through of this beautiful journal, let's make sure we're in frame. And I'm not sure about this tie, but that's what I have for now. This fabric covered journal is pretty sweet, I think. This is what I did for the binding. It doesn't have a lot of lace, but I put a little extra ephemera in there. So I tried some embroidery. I should like to light my candle. Yeah, let's do that. Make it pretty. Try not to catch on fire, but having the candle is pretty. I still haven't found the ultimate setup. I wished I did. Everything, this is moving. I'm trying not to make it move. I wish somebody would send me their ultimate setup for filming, because I don't have one. All right, so let's get into this. It's got 3 signatures. And as you can see, it's got some embossed paper and a lot of digitals. And my idea initially was just to take all the digitals that I had got my hands on and put them in here to make signatures, because you can always cover them if you don't like them. And then once I got them in here, I said, oh, they kind of look nice. And I've got some pretty book pages and music. I love this because this is the teacher telling the student, getting slower and softer. And with having 4 of my kids, 4 of my 7 had piano lessons, that's just a sweet memory for me. This is not theirs, but, oh, copyright 1928, how could it be? So let's look into these pieces of ephemera and digitals that I have. And I just think these are cute. I actually would wear these today. This is one of my favorite styles of dress. But I could only get that pattern now. This, not so much. So, 1970 paper. I think this came out of that same magazine. The Market Basket, I think? No, that's the grocery store. I don't know. All right, so anyways, this is a tag that I did not too long ago. I had it on my Instagram page, and now I finally found a spot for it. This is out of the book that I got from Casey Turner when Casey and God's girl Angie from Instagram did an Express Your Arty Soul retreat, and I had taken a book page out of the book that they gave us. That book is really sweet. Junk Journal Delight. So some more little pieces of ephemera. Some of them are real ephemera and some of them are really looking like it. You know, you can't have it all. I can't anyways. Oh, there's Bradsboots, my trademark. And if you've been along on my channel long enough, you'll see Bradsboots. So we have some more book pages, as you can see. I'll try not to point every single thing out because, frankly, I find it a little annoying when someone tells you exactly what's there when they can see it for themselves. But it's hard not to do that. So here, this little girl, I'll say, is the cutest little thing. Isn't she, holding a bird? And look at those. Oh, so sweet. Not going to pull everything off because then I have to put it back. I think I already said 3 signatures. This, I'm not going to take it out, but this is a little, The Princess and the Pea. I took my daughter to that play once. It was really sweet. And I did put some embossed paper throughout too. These digitals, I weren't sure if I was going to keep them, but they seem to fit. So I have to keep them now. I have this book that I purchased, and it's about chickens. So I took a page out of it and put it in here because it's very old, and I almost did some washi tape down the middle just to reinforce it, but it seems to be holding up, so we'll leave that for whoever wants to buy this one. And you can get it at Bradsboots on eBay. This I've been hanging on to for a while. This is a original piece of ephemera that's interesting. The price of things. And I have a stack of some French vocabulary cards that every now and then I'll put into a journal. There's some tags I made a while ago. And this is Maggie Holmes. And it seemed to me like it matched this cover perfectly. I just got this envelope from somewhere. Don't know where. Maybe it was at the retreat. This is from my little stash of one day made a lot of tags and then just put them aside. And I tried to do some stacking here. Some French ledger. And another little tag that's really, that dotted Swiss just makes something so sweet, doesn't it? If you're enjoying this flip through, give me a thumbs up or a nice little comment. I appreciate it. I just recently purchased this card for 50 cents, it looks like. It looks like it's either in French or German, but I'm not sure. Wow. It's got some pretty graphics on it. So if you're not a huge frilly person, you'll probably like this journal. I have included a 1945 letter to a lieutenant from his wife. I did not read it, so that can be your pleasure. Jack in the Pulpit. I love this. So it's a hidden binding. So if you want to see how I made the cardboard part of the book, then I'll stick that at the end of this video. It's when I use the cereal box to make the 3 sections so that I can have my base for my fabric cover. So look for that, and thank you. But I wanted to at least get this up because it's taken forever with iMovie to load and get my my videos on. First it takes me forever to make it, edit it. Then it takes me forever to load it to my desktop, and then to YouTube. It's taken me a long time. So is anybody else having that problem? I'm sure somebody else is. So there you have a nice soft covered fabric journal. It's not really soft, but it's a fabric covered journal that is all finished and ready to go. Let's see what you need. I'm just using a cereal box, and then because I feel like they've made the cereal boxes thinner than they used to be, I'm going to use, is this the same brand? No, this is General Mills and this is Kellogg's. Kellogg's is thinner. Yeah, I feel like definitely, you know, I'm going to use the Cheerios ones. I'll use that Kellogg's one for something else, but all right, so I'm going to need that. I'm going to need some cutting scissors. Can't find my big ones, so these will have to do. I'm going to need some glue and, you know, the basics, scissors and ruler if you need, you know, pencil, the basics. So what we'll do is decide how big we want it. And usually, because the papers are 8.5 by 11, you know, you fold it 8.5, ends up being about 4.5 to here. And then 8.5 by 11, what I usually do is fold the pages in half so that, you know, there's minimum waste to make my signatures. And so my width on it is more like a little under a 5.5. I will use this paper as my guide I'm going to get a pen and I'm going to bring it down here. I'm using this straight edge here for help to keep it, that part straight. And then I'm just going to go around it. And if you hold your hand and you hold your pen up like that, it makes it straighter. So now what I will do is take my scissors, which I've already lost and I haven't even moved. I'm going to take my fabric and put it away because I don't need my fabric right this second. But I've got some pretty fabric coming up. I'm going to need some very thin, this is called batting. It's not interfacing, it's batting. It's what you use to make quilts. I really did lose my scissors. Oh my goodness. There they are. So now I could take out my big chunky, if you have a big chunky cutter like I do, I think you can cut things out. So I'm going to make this 1/4 of an inch all around bigger. And I'm going to use my chunky cutter. I'll be right back. My cutter is like, it's called X-Acto, X-A-C-T-O. It's like a guillotine. The only problem that I have with this is that I have trouble storing it. I don't know where the video is, so what I did was I took the 2 pieces of cardboard and a binding in the middle, and I used masking tape to construct them. As you can see, I left a scant 1/4 of an inch on each side of that binding piece to make sure that you can open and close the binding, which I talked about in the beginning of the video. And then I took that and I laid it on top of the batting, which I glued down with a little bit of glue just to hold it in place. And that was the very end after I did all my sewing, which you saw in the beginning of the video too. So if I confused you, I apologize. Only those people who really care are at the end right now. Ask me questions. I'll answer them.